Hi everyone. So welcome to the stream today. Very much excited for having you on this executive Q&A session. This week, I want to come your way and provide you with some strategies, some techniques, and also answer your questions for you as you prepare, consolidate, bring everything together for the examination. Next week, about this time, you are almost finishing with your afternoon paper. For those of you who be writing corporate reporting in the evening, you're almost finishing because it's almost getting 5, and so you're almost finishing for the session. And I want to come your way and provide you with some assistance and answer some questions that you have, so I can assist you better for you to prepare well for your examination. So welcome to the stream. Give us a thumbs up on the video. In case you've not subscribed to the channel, please do well to subscribe to the channel. We want to grow this channel, make it a bigger community so that people will come in and be able to get questions answered for them. And we'll be able to assist a lot of people. If you know there is a friend, a colleague, or someone that must watch this stream, consider to share the video as well with them so we can reach as many students as possible. So comment in the chat box any questions you have for me today. This is a Q&A session, all right? So any questions you have for me, I see some comments coming in already in the chat box. Let me check them up and then start to reply to some of your comments already. So comments in the chat box, any questions for me? Want to answer your questions for you. Okay, Jamel Imoro, good day, Jamel. I hope you're doing well. Samuel Quasin said, hello, senior man. Hi, Samuel, I hope you're doing well. Hali Jowri, if I don't mention your name right, please forgive me, all right? Thank you so much for helping out. It's always a pleasure, Ali. Samuel Quasin said, it's always great to learn from you. Thank you very much, Samuel. Hali Jowri said, please elaborate on gift tax. Okay. When we're talking about gift tax, so if you join the stream, you comment in the chat box with your questions. I'll be answering your questions and enabling or be able to answer your questions. So comment in the chat box with any questions that you have for me in that case, and I'll be answering all of them for you. So comment in the chat box. Okay, so I see my first question on gift tax. So when it comes to taxation and dealing with the principles of taxation, one of the topics there is the issue about gift tax. Now, gift tax is part of what I treat usually as chargeable gain, or what I call chargeable income. Now, at the end of the day, what happens is that people are going to have certain gifts given to them. So a person who receives any taxable gifts, the value of which exceeding 50 Ghana cedis is required to pay a tax at a rate of 15% of the excess over the 50 Ghana cedis. Now, Harley, I don't know if you are in Ghana, because I'm going to be talking about this in the context of Ghana. So I don't know if you are in Ghana. Let me know. Are you in Ghana? Like, are you a Ghanaian? I don't know. Hali Jowri. I don't know if the name is a Ghanaian name though. So any amount that is once the person receives a taxable gift, it is subject to tax at a rate of 15% in that case. Now, what happens here is that if the gift is in line with employment, so let's say you work for a company and then you receive gifts as a result of or by virtue of the employment, then that one, it is added to your chargeable income and tax as part of your allowances, cash benefits in that case. So when it is about an employment, then this rate doesn't come in. But if it is just for like I buy you something, you're not working for me, I just dash you something, then it is subject to taxation because it is called taxable gift. Now, a taxable gift in any form can be in any form situated in Ghana. So a building of a permanent or a temporary nature is a gift tax or is subject to gift tax. Let's turn this guy off. Land, shares, bonds, other securities, money, including foreign currency, business and business assets. All these are subject to gift tax. But there are a couple of things that are not subject to gift tax. There are a couple of things that are not subject to gift tax. Something like any gift that is received under a will or upon intestate, it's not subject to tax. So let's say there is a will and someone dies and they say they should give you this, that is not subject to the gift tax. Then also a gift received from a spouse, a child, a brother, an uncle, a nephew, that is also not subject to the gift tax. Then also a gift received by a religious body, so as a gift will go to the benefit of the public. Because so a church, when you donate to church, the church has received something, but it's not going to be taxed because the church is there for what? The benefit of the public or a section of the public. So that is also not subject to tax. Then a gift for charitable purposes is also not subject to tax in that case. So at the end of the day, the law says that a person who receives a taxable gift has an obligation to furnish the Commissioner General or the Ghana Revenue Authority with information about the gift received within 30 days on the receipt of the gift. And so what kind of information will you be submitting? You'll be submitting information about the description and location of the taxable gift, that is, if it is a gift of a permanent nature, the total value of the gift, and then how it was even calculated, and the tax that is payable, the full name and the addressee or the address of the donor of the gift, that is the one who gave you the gift, and then any other information that the Commissioner General would deem fit to be provided. So basically, when we talk about gift tax, this is what you can talk about the handling. Okay, so Hanley said, I am a librarian writing the ICAG exams. Oh, okay. So that is it about the gift tax. Any questions for me? Isa Abdul Hafiz said, I love your lectures. Thank you, Hafiz. Some more questions said, please, is there still integrated accounting and sustainability accounting in CR? Yes, it is still there. So patients, you are welcome. So late today, or good evening, sir. Good evening, or patients, you are not too late. I started not long ago. So if you have any questions, you can put them down for me. No, patience. You are asking the solutions on the board, were they done just a while ago? No. The solution on the board doesn't relate to today's discussion. Today, I'm just doing a Q&A, so I've not done anything on the board. So what is on the board is just on the board, all right? So Hanley said, so is NGO subject to gift tax? No, because they are, whatever they receive is for the public purposes or a section of the public benefit. Is not supposed to be taxed. Grace, good evening. You are welcome to the stream. Consider to give us a thumbs up on the video. Everybody watching, give us a thumbs up on the video. That way we get more engagement and YouTube will be able to push the video so we can reach as many students as possible. Any questions for me? This is an executive Q&A session. So hit me up with any questions that you have, literally any questions that you have, something you want me to share on. Maybe you are learning anything that you don't understand or you want some light to be shared upon it. Put it in the chat box for me and I'll be answering all of them for you. Okay. So Patience said, thanks, sir. You're welcome. Hanley said, thank you for your enlightenment. Thank you, Hanley. You are welcome. Any other questions for me? Any other questions for me? You are learning something, you want me to throw more light on it? I'm always ready to do that for you. So So comment in the chat box any questions you have for me. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Right, so still waiting on your questions. Now, so as you consolidate and bring everything together and prepare for the examination ultimately by next week, a couple of few things you need to note, a couple of few things that you need to take into consideration as you prepare for the exams. By now, all other things being equal, you should know your way out of the exams and what you need to look out for in the exams. And what do you know in the exam? Okay, so I see a comment. Let me reply to that before I go. Please say, I have looked at quite a number of past questions on employment income, but in the solution, they have not been adding the 13% to get the total cash emolument. Okay, so did you look at the November 2019 exams? I think if you look at the November 2019 exams, that thing was done. Let me just cross-check if it's the November 2019 exams or the mock exams for the November 2019. One of those things, that was what was done. Let's see. Principles of tax. I'm just looking at it to see what you are saying. Then Harley said, can you kindly send me questions on MA and principle of taxation for practice? I'm not sure if our question kits will be available like that. I'm not sure about it though, but you can send a message on WhatsApp and then maybe my executive assistant will check out that for you. Because our question kits are usually for our students who enroll in our courses online. So I need to look at it. So Isaiah Abdul Aviz, what is the question? Clarify your question for me and then let me answer. Patrick Mann said, okay, before Patrick, that name crowd, I can't even pronounce the name. The last time I think you told me how the name is pronounced, but I think I forgot. Josie Machado. IFRS 16 offers practical expedience for short-term and low-value leases. What does this mean? Perhaps discuss or give example, please. Okay, this is what happens. Under IFRS 16, usually what we're going to be, the lessee is going to be recognizing a right of use of an asset, all right? That is what the lessee is going to be recognizing, a right of use of an asset. But what happens is that if the asset is of a low value or even the lease term is short, the standard gives a right that you can treat it as a normal rentals, meaning that instead of recognizing a right of use and depreciating the asset, you will just treat it as a normal rental, so there is no need to recognize the asset in your books. That is what it means. That is what the low value exception principle means. So instead of recognizing right of use and crediting lease liability and depreciating the right of use over the lease term or the economic useful life of the asset, and then carrying out the lease liability on an amortized cost schedule, if the asset is of a low value or the lease term is short, the lessee can decide to treat it as a normal rental. In that case, no need to recognize right of use, no need to recognize lease liability. We just treat the transaction as a normal rental so that the annual lease payable is recognized in the income statement. Okay, that is the treatment about that. Does it make sense to you? Let me know if it makes sense, if you understand it. Okay. Harley said, can you kindly send, okay, I've read that. Patrick Mengs, hi, Patrick. Can you briefly assist with presentation of answers in the exams? For instance, when you make mistake and have to correct it in your calculation. Okay. Remember, presentation is a critical aspect in the exam hall. It's a critical aspect. So if you make mistakes in a calculation and you need to correct it, make sure that one of the things I see people done on some of these things is that when they are canceling, thank God I have a board behind me. When they are canceling, so let's say I am canceling this, or maybe this figure is wrong, and so I am canceling. I didn't do this, okay? This is for a different class that I did in the morning, or just a moment ago. So let's say I'm canceling this, okay? So what you do is that cancel it just once, and then write the correct figure on top. Cancel this one also once, and then write the correct figure either down or on top, but make sure it is visible. But one of the cancellation we see students do a lot is that they do it like this. It's like they don't want the thing to be seen. If you do that, the work will be in chakanchaka, like my girl will say. He said the work will be in chakanchaka, like it will not be neat, it will be clumsy, that kind of thing. So you just cancel with one, then you write it on top or below it, make sure it is visible. That is why you have to be careful about your pen. Okay, there are some of you use a lot of deep pens. I advise that if you are writing the exams, get a fresh pen, get a new pen. So buy a new pen that is flowing normal, flowing brightly, not a pen you've been using since 1962. You carry it because it will be too deep, and when you cancel one thing, it will not be nice, right? So I advise that you get a new pen that is flowing light, and there are some of the pens brand that they are not good, but get a pen that flows light, and then you cancel just one. Just cancel one, and then write the correct thing that you have above it or below it, making sure that it is visible and can be read. But if it becomes a bit clumsy and not well seen, then that is where you're going to be having problems. So Patrick Menz, that is what I would say about that. That is what I would say about that. Does it make sense for you, Patrick? Let me know in the chat box. Samuel Quasin said, Patience, can you imagine 1962 pen? How can you be using 1962 pen now? Don't mind Nhyira. Nhyira is like that. Samuel Quasin said, please, can you throw more light on working capital requirements and capital restructuring, that is designing a scheme? Yeah, if you are designing a scheme, definitely working capital requirement is part of the cost. It's part of the cost. Are you getting the idea? So it has to be included in the scheme that we are looking at. So let's say, for instance, depending on where you are standing, let's say, for instance, we are bringing all the revenue that we are going to be having, or all the receipts under the scheme, we bring it. Then we look at the cost we're going to be incurring. Maybe we're going to be acquiring some assets. We're going to be, as a result of the assets we are acquiring, there is going to be some working capital that has to be paid. So that has to be added to the cost. Okay, so you bring all your receipts, then the cost that you're going to be incurring, so that you will get the net amount that will be remaining after the restructuring, so that you find out whether you are going to be having excess cash under the restructuring, or you should just dispose of the company and go away. So working capital is part of the cost that you are going to be looking at in looking at the issue in relation to your friend is saying designing a scheme. So you bring your receipts, working capital should be part of the cost elements that you are looking at. Does it make sense, someone? Let me know if it makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know where it doesn't really make sense so I can clarify for you. Prince Perry said, what are necessary topics one look for in FR. Please, there are not anything like necessary topics in FR. There will be question on console. There will be question on standards. There will be question on single entity. There will be question on evaluation of financial performance and financial position. There will be question on conceptual framework and regulatory framework, and then ethics. All these areas, there will be question on them in the exam hall. So you have to spread your wings, understand the concept as much as possible, read and practice a lot of questions. That is why I discussed my academic success triangle with you guys, where I mentioned that you make sure step one, you understand the concepts, you understand the principles, you understand the basic ideas underlining the subject. Step two, you talk about the exam structure, okay? You talk about the exam structure. You must understand the exam structure, get an examination analysis document. What are the areas the examiner is going to be bringing in? What are even the wordings of the questions? And those things are quite tough, quite hard to be done, but you must understand how the exams is. Then you come to the step three, practicing a lot of questions. Like I say all the time, I see students practicing a lot of questions without understanding the basic concepts and the principles. And that is really hazardous, and you are setting yourself up not to excel. So what I will advise is that don't say, oh, FR, I'm going to focus on console, I'm going to focus on this, David. As a matter of fact, I tell you guys all the time, console shouldn't be a question you answer first in the FR exams. And also in the corporate reporting exams, console should not be the first question. You have to go for the cheaper questions first. The theory areas in question 5, pick them up. You can do ratios. We've done it on this portal, on the channel here. I did a 2-part series on interpretation of financial statements. You can watch that video and build your understanding on that. From there, you go to the standards. Build your understanding. Financial reporting, the bedrock of financial reporting is accounting standards and the double entry. If you don't understand the accounting standard and the double entry, no matter what you do, you can't excel in FR. So make sure you understand the accounting standards. And the good news is that I have covered almost all the accounting standards you will need to pass the exams. About 99% of all the accounting standards have been covered on this channel. So you can check it out and watch them and look at the standards that you need, and then practice some questions around them. That is also the reason why I recommended students some time ago to get the question bank by ICAG. It has a lot of questions in there and can help you. If you don't have money to buy or you think it's too late, that is also your own case. You can also download some questions from Google, some ACCA questions, and look at them in that case. So Prince Perry, there are no necessary topics in FR. Every topic is examinable in FR. And it is the structure of the questions, that's what you have to be looking out for, and how the questions, the wordings, and those things. And so if you practice a lot of questions, focus on the standards, focus on ratios, understand ethics and conceptual frameworks, you should be able to excel in the exam hall at the end of the day. So Prince Perry, that is what I'm going to be saying on that. Sam TV said, Nhyira Premium will serve your need. Mr. Perry, okay. Sam TV, Samokote, okay, says Sammy, you are watching, thank you for joining the stream. And your name said, hi, I'm late. No, you are not late. I'm just doing a Q&A session, so not really teaching. So if you have any questions that you want me to answer, you want me to comment on, you can put it in the chat box for me. Perry, I think there is a chat you are giving, but I don't know what you're saying there. Okay. Any other comments for me? Okay, so Josie Machado said, I have seen your IFRS 16 was great. Do you have a recording on intangibles or financial instruments? Yes, Josie Machado, I have. Josie Machado, forgive me if I butcher your name, okay? Just forgive me. I'm sorry about that. Yes, I have questions. I have, your friend is saying, lecture videos on intangible assets and financial instruments. If you go to my channel page, the playlist there titled Accounting Standard Series. Let me just cross-check if it is true. Yeah, accounting standard series. As of today, there are 52 videos in that playlist, all on accounting standards. And definitely there's a question, there are lecture videos on IFRS 9, financial instruments, and IAS 36, IAS 38, impairment, and intangible. So yes, there are lecture videos. Just check the playlist title, Accounting Standard Series. There are a lot of lecture videos there that can assist you to be able to understand these in that case. Okay, Sam, accounting standards, you're very good, Mr. Nhyira. Thank you for the submission and teachings. It's always a pleasure. Patrick Mann said, thanks for presentation part. Please, do you have a video playlist on gift and chargeable gains and taxation? No, I'm not sure we have that on my YouTube channel here. You know, we have our courses available online. So all our courses, if you want content really about all subjects, we have it available online that you can enroll in, certainly at a fee, right? It's an online course at a fee. But I don't think on the channel here, we have anything on gift tax and chargeable gain. Let me just cross-check if there is a playlist on my channel titled Taxation and Fiscal Policy in Ghana. There are 14 videos in that playlist as of today. You can check it out, but I don't think there is anything on chargeable gain. What I rather covered, some of the things I've covered there are capital allowance, how to calculate chargeable income, and then corporate tax liability, withholding tax, administration. Yeah, these are some of the things that are covered in the playlist there. So not really having content on that. Prince Perry said, do you have videos on business valuations? On the YouTube channel, I don't know, you can check the playlist, but there should be videos on that. You can check the playlist titled Financial Management Lectures, or sorry, Understanding Financial Management. That is the name of the playlist, Understanding Financial Management. As of today, there are 47 videos in that playlist, and I covered a lot of things there. I don't know if business valuation is there. Let me just scroll through and see if I'll see anything about that. Let's see, sources of finance is there. Yeah, business valuation is there. So Perry, there's business valuation there. Prince Perry, there is a business valuation video. There are 2 videos there on business valuation. One is 54 minutes, the other is 24 minutes. So it's a 2-part question on business valuation. So it's already on the channel, man. So you can check it out. Chances are a lot of the things you may be asking about, you just check the playlist, okay? We have over 400 videos already on the channel. As of today, over 400 videos on the channel. And definitely chances are something that you want is already covered on the channel. Let's see. Any other comments we have here? Mohammed Nasif Suleiman said, please, Nhyira, we want help on PSA ratios. Okay, Prince Perry said, thank you, you are welcome. Mohammed, PSA ratios, that's a huge area. That's a huge area to be talked about. I don't know, but let me know in the chat box. For those of you doing PSA, apart from Mohammed, will any of you be interested that I take the ratios on PSA? It's a broad thing that I don't think, because of the time we are in now, I can really cover everything, but I could host a one-day session on that, and then we compute the ratios and their interpretation. So let me know in the chat box, apart from Mohammed, if any of you doing PSA would want me to cover on the PSA ratios. If the request is numerous, we're going to be considering covering that. Okay. So Mohammed, if the response is numerous, we will consider covering that. Because of the time we are in now, I wouldn't want to do something that would be out. But like I said, we have our courses available online, and both our online and on-campus students, we've gone through this deeply with them, and then they actually understand how some of these things are done well in that case. So if I need to host a session on that, we could host a session. Any other questions for me? Any other questions for me? Let's see. Okay. Right, so comment below with any questions. Give us a thumbs up on the video if you are liking it. And in case you've not subscribed to the channel, I don't know why you've not subscribed to the channel. This is a channel you need to be part of. So hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification icon so that anytime I go live or I release new lecture videos, you'll be the first person to be notified. That way you become a VIP member of the channel, and you can reach out and as well as talk to me as well. Any questions, please put them in the chat box for me. This is a Q&A session, right? So today I'm not going to be doing teaching. It's a Q&A session. So you comment in the chat box. Any questions, something you want me to comment on, something you want me to talk about, you can put it in the chat box. And I'm going to answer that for you. So like I was saying earlier, as we consolidate and bring everything together, there are a couple of things that you must note. Yesterday, I shared about it on Facebook. I spoke a little about that, but I understand some of you will be able to. Okay, I'm seeing a comment from Mohammed. Let me look at that. Please, what makes banks cash flows from the normal cash flows, like the cash flow in November 2018, question on FI? You will not be having any questions relating to banks. So ignore anything about banks. You will not be having anything in that, because it's understood that nothing about the banks will be covered in this syllabus. So there is nothing about banks in the no syllabus. So don't worry your head on anything like that. It's unnecessary and you don't need it. So Mohammed, that is what you have to know. So as you prepare, like I was saying, you've got to make sure that you, in addition to what Mohammed is saying, you've got to be careful if you are referring to the past questions, because the syllabus has changed. So the fact that there was a structure, there was a question, anything above last semester is not something you need to really, if you are looking at it, look at it with an objective eye. That is why I recommended that you get the question kits, because the question kits try to provide you with everything that you need and what the syllabus actually covers. But if you are going through the past questions from 2000 and whatever up till May 2019, note that the fact that something is in those questions doesn't mean it will be examined, because the syllabus structure has changed. The syllabus requirement has been improved quite intense. So you just have to be careful when referring to the past questions. This is very, very important. Okay, so Mohammed said thank you. You are welcome. All right, I see some of you giving us a thumbs up on the video. Thank you very much for supporting us. It's always a pleasure that I see you. Grace said, "Sir, what is maintenance?" If you say maintenance, in what context are you saying it? Grace, in what context are you saying maintenance? Is it maintenance in taxation, maintenance in PSA, maintenance in, like, if the word maintenance is what you are looking for, it simply means that something is damaged, something is faulty, and you're repairing it. So repairs and maintenance, that's it. So restoring something that is damaged so that you can use it for a purpose. But let me know the context in which you are asking maintenance, because I know you're not just asking it because of the grammar explanation of it, but each treatment. So let me know the context in which you are asking it. Is it taxation? Because if it's in taxation, repairs and improvements, there is a way it has to be treated. And then if it is in FR, also there's a way it has to be treated. So let me know the context in which you are asking that. Bin Liaf Salem said, we appreciate all of what you are doing, sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Salem. Then I see another comment coming in from Josie Chamado. Like I said, if I butcher your name, don't kill me. Would the balance sheet give the best presentation of intangible assets, or what else should I consider in analyzing how a company applies IAS 38? Would the balance sheet give the best presentation of intangible assets, or what else should I consider in analyzing how a company applies IAS 38? I guess you don't understand what IAS 38 really is. So you need to go and look at what IAS 38 is about. Like, I mean, the breakdown and everything and all of that, you must look at that in that case. Usually when it comes to IAS 38, that is intangible assets, after the initial recognition on the subsequent measurement, it depends on whether the intangible asset has a definite economic useful life or an indefinite economic useful life. Because if the asset has a definite economic useful life, then it has to be amortized over the economic useful life, so that that amortization figure will be accounted for in the statement of profit or loss for the year under consideration, so that the carrying amount of the intangible asset is taken to the statement of financial position. However, if the intangible asset has an indefinite economic useful life, then we cannot amortize, rather we test for impairment. So if it suffers any impairment, again, it is recognized in the statement of profit or loss, and then the recoverable amount or the carrying value is taken to the statement of financial position. So that is what you need to understand about that. Okay, so Grace, you said capital maintenance. Okay, so the question that you are asking about that, it's capital maintenance. Now, the idea about capital and capital maintenance is under conceptual framework, but it is a concept that states that a company should not recognize a profit unless the business has at least maintained an amount of its net assets during the accounting year. What it means then is that the concept actually excludes some cash inflows and cash flows that have impact on the net asset. For instance, if there is increase in asset by way of shareholders, or a decrease in asset by payment of dividend, all of those things must be taken out of in that case. Now, why is this important? It's important because you see, in the income statement, when you prepare your income statement, you declare a profit. And then you come to your retained earnings, you see your statement of changes in equity, and you find out that it has grown, it has gone up. But that profit that has been made could be because of the fact that there are your assets or capital may be increasing, not because you have made a profit, but because shareholders brought in some money. So if at the end of the day, the beginning of the year, your net asset was 2,000, the end of the year, your net asset is 5,000, literally what it means is that you have made a profit of 3,000. But that could be a lie, because maybe your net asset is increasing because shareholders brought in more cash. So if shareholders brought in more cash, that means that the increase in the net asset is not because there has been profit for the year. The company can make a loss, but the net assets will increase, which could mean that the company or shareholders were introducing some cash into the business, or we raised money from other non-traditional sources. This is the concept of capital and capital maintenance, where we said that we can't say we have made profit unless there is an increase in the net assets during the year coming from, which is not coming from shareholders or coming from non-core activities of the organization. I hope, Grace, it makes sense to you. Salem said, biggest topic to take advantage of when studying for FR ACCA. Now, I've said this already. FR doesn't have anything like biggest topic. You are going to get a question on consolidation. It's going to be there. You're going to get a question on standards. It's going to be there. You're going to get a question on ethics. It's going to be there. All right. So it's not about, yeah, I want to focus on these two topics, then I will pass. You don't do that. So position yourself in such a way that you are rounded. Console, you have to be solid. Standards, you've got to be solid. Ethics, you've got to be solid. Once you are solid on these areas, you should be able to excel in the exams. Okay, Grace, you are welcome. John Parko said, when are you going to discuss the pre-SIM for the strategic case study? We are actually thinking about that. Because of time constraints, we are looking at a time that will be favorable. So certainly, I'll be discussing some things about the pre-SIM, couple of things that you must note and how you need to really structure yourself up in that case. So definitely keep on following me. Like I said, it will be a private meeting. So the details will be posted on my Instagram page as well as on my Facebook page. So I will recommend that if you are not following me on Instagram or Facebook, you follow me there, because it will be posted there and it will be a Zoom discussion and it will be a private discussion. I will not be streaming it on YouTube here, so that we will have that discussion on the pre-SIM shortly. But it's been great so far on campus and with our online students. We've discussed last week, Saturday and Sunday, and it's been great so far. So definitely we would look at how that session could be. Patience said, please, how does one test for an infinite intangible asset? If the asset has an indefinite economic useful life, you test for impairment, okay? So for instance, trademark has an indefinite economic useful life to some extent. Goodwill is an intangible asset, but it has an indefinite economic useful life. So to test for impairment simply means finding out whether the recoverable amount is less than the carrying amount or more than the carrying amount. That is how you test for impairment, because an asset is carried, or an asset cannot be carried over its recoverable amount. So if the recoverable amount of the asset is less than the carrying amount of the asset, that means the asset has suffered an impairment. So that is what you must understand when we talk about the issue in relation to testing for infinite intangible assets. I hope, Priscilla, it makes sense to you. Charlotte, Goviva, you've deleted your comments. You can resend what you want to send now. Even though I read it, I won't say it out because you deleted it. So you can restate what you wanted to say in that case. Salem said, you are great. Thank you always. It's a pleasure, Salem. It's a pleasure. Any other comments for me? Charlotte said, what steps do we follow in ethical issues in CR? Charlotte, when you say what steps do we follow, what exactly do you mean? Can you clarify that? Or are you asking me how you answer ethical issues questions in corporate reporting? Is that what you want to ask me? Clarify for me so I can give you a better answer, okay? Please do for me so I can give you a better answer. Give us a thumbs up to the video. Thank you very much for those of you who have given us a thumbs up. That will help us a lot and help the channel to grow so that we can reach as many students as possible. Charlotte, I'm waiting for you to clarify your question for me so I can answer you. Okay. So how to approach ethic questions. So there is always going to be a scenario-based question and about ethics, and the examiner is going to ask you what will be the course of action or what will be the ethical issues to consider and the course of action. So depending on how the structure the question is, you may see some ethical issues like maybe lack of competence. You may see issues like lack of professional behavior. You may see issues like lack of honesty or integrity. Like you may see some issues about the fundamental principles. Then what courses of action do you undertake? When it comes to ethical issues questions, there are always 3 courses of action that are available to undertake. Number 1, either you confront the issue for the right thing to be done, or number 2, you confront the issue. Number 2, you seek advice. It could be a legal advice or an advice either from the regulatory body or from another person. So you seek a legal an advice. And then number 3, you can resign if really the issue cannot be resolved. So that is how you approach the question. It will be a story, and based on the story, you have to find out what fundamental ethical principle is being affected here, and then also what threats are in there. There could be some self-review threats, the intimidation. And that is a regular customer, it's definitely going to be there. So you must make sure you get it. Any other comments? I don't know, my chart is not loading. Okay, so Charlotte, let me know if you understood what I mentioned or the explanation I gave. Let me know whether it makes sense to you. Okay, so I see another comment coming from Charlotte. Let's see. Salem said, my Facebook, Instagram, Nhyira Premium. Okay, so it's at Nhyira Premium. Once you search for Nhyira Premium, I'm the only Nhyira Premium. So Nhyira Premium. That's the same name on the channel here. Charlotte said, in memo writing concerning ratios, do we always have to put recommendations and conclusions? If yes, what do we address? If yes, what do we address it? Yeah, concerning ratios is critical. Once it's a memo or a report, heading must come. You need to bring an introduction. Then after that, you pick the ratios one after the other. Profitability ratios, liquidity and efficiency ratios, gearing ratios. Then conclusion is very, very important. There is no analysis you make without giving conclusion. So in the conclusion paragraph, that is where you talk about, in a nutshell, what is happening to the company, and then what should the company do? That is where the recommendation comes in. So yes, conclusion comes there in that. So look at the pro forma, heading, intro, then you now pick the ratios one after the other, profitability ratios, then you explain all of the profitability ratios under that paragraph. You come to the liquidity and working capital ratios or efficiency ratios. You talk about that, then gearing ratios, then conclusion, and that's where you bring everything home in that. I hope it makes sense, Charlotte. Okay, Salem said, I got it. Thanks. You are welcome, Salem. Any other questions for me? Okay, Charlotte said, yes, I'm okay. But what of if there is an accounting issue on the ethics? Do we have to talk about its treatment before the ethics issues? Yes, definitely. So depending on how the question is structured, the examiner will say, what is the accounting issue, and then what is the ethics there? So it will be 2 in 1. I think I shared a question like that because sometimes the management may be making an error, they will be calculating provisions wrong, they may be depreciating assets wrong. So you must do the right thing, then you talk about the ethics aspect. So such questions, it means it's in 2 folds. You are looking at the accounting statement, what the financial statement should be in terms of that transaction. And then because of the error they are committing, the mistakes they are making, what is the ethical issues also to be addressed? So yes, that is true. You need to talk about accounting issues if there is, and then you talk about the ethical requirement as well. Any other questions for me? Any other questions for me? Like I said, there's a Q&A session. So I'm here to answer your questions for you. So comment in the chat box any questions you have for me. Okay, Charlotte, you are welcome. Any other questions, any other comments for me? Let's see what you got. Any other questions, any other comments? If you are joining the stream now, that's an executive Q&A session where I want to just answer some questions for you and provide you with some assistance on what you're studying as you conclude and consolidate and bring everything together for your examination. And I hope that it's going on well so far. Hope so. Hope it's going on so far very well. So comment in the chat box any questions you have for me. Right. So, like I was mentioning earlier before a question came in, at this time, one of the things that people are looking at is some people are getting nervous as the exams get closer. You are feeling the pressure, that kind of thing. But all I would say is that you got to relax. Okay, you've got to relax. It's not difficult. It's not challenging. You may feel unprepared, but you've done something. All right, you've done something. So all I would say is there are a couple of things that you must just take note of. By now, you should be going over everything again, revisiting. Remember the theories. One of the things I've seen is that a lot of you don't read the theories. You are just focusing on calculation, FR, calculation, PSA, calculation, man accounting, calculation. But there are theories in the question. Okay, there are theories in the question, so you've got to be careful to spend some time to read as well. So in as much as you are perfecting yourself on the computation, perfecting yourself on the calculation, trying to get them, how is it going? Because sometimes something you know in calculation format could be presented to you in a theory way, where there are no figures in the question and the examiner says, right. So if it was a calculation, you could have done it excellently. But now it says that calculation you said you know, and you are saying you know, put it in the right written form, like designing an accounting policy for an intangible asset. So in that case, what do you do and how do you go about it? So it's very, very important that when you are learning, you are not just looking at the calculation aspect, but make sure that you understand the theory aspect of it and understand the concept as a whole. Prince said, is the treatment with cost of capital and business valuations similar? I don't understand your question. Can you clarify, please? Basil Akan, good evening, boss. How I need to improve my examination techniques, especially when it comes to financial reporting and standards. How I need to. Are you asking how can you improve your examination techniques, financial reporting and the standards? Is that what you are asking? Akan, please, can you clarify your question for me? And then Prince, can you also clarify your questions for me so I understand well and be able to make a comment or answer that? Patient said, mine is with the comprehension of the standards. How easy is it to learn, please? Yeah, Patience, the standards are easy to learn and you must look at it with the objective of the standards. What do I mean by that? It means that, like I said on my channel here, I've covered almost all the standards, certainly not all of them, because at least we need to be exclusive so that we can have some, not all of them on the channel. But what I'm saying is that you must make sure you understand the standard. Now, when you say understand, you see, when you pick every standard, almost all the standards, there is what is called initial recognition. There is what is called subsequent measurement. There is what is called disclosure requirement. So for every standard you pick, you must understand, okay, what is the recognition criteria here? Okay, so after and how do we do the initial recognition? Good. After the initial recognition, how is it subsequently carried in the books? If it is an asset and it is depreciated, how is the depreciation treated in the financial statement? How is the carrying amount taken? If it is about leases, how do we treat it? So when you are learning, you are asking yourself, and I've taught you how to study using the FAST techniques. Number one, forget everything you know about the subject. Number two, be active when you are learning, ask questions. Why am I learning this? How can I apply this? Then S is your state of mind. And I've told you, if by this time you are learning and you are thinking about some other things, I'm sorry. And I know there are a lot of things you can think about, Yeah, you can think about the fact that you broke. You can think about the fact that you've lost your job. You can think about the fact that your spouse is worrying you, or your boyfriend is chasing you, or your girlfriend is chasing you with money, or whatever it is. But if you're not in a good state of mind and you are learning, I'm sorry, you better sleep, because the sleep will be better than learning. So your state of mind in learning, because sometimes people pick book and they sit behind the book for 4 hours and they get up and they say, I didn't get anything. Yes, your state of mind wasn't good. You were not supposed to have continued to study. You were supposed to just put the book aside and sleep. But you forced yourself and you were learning it. So state of mind is very, very critical. So forget everything you know about the subject. Be active, be engaging, be taking notes. Now, when I show you the notes I take on everything, I think I've showed you guys this before. Where is this? Let me see if I can share this with you. When I'm preparing a note on anything, like you can see here, you can see that I use 2 pens. So I'm using red as well as what? Blue. Now, these are ratios for the public sector, all right? You see, I use red and blue. That way, when I'm looking at it, the red stands for things that stands out, comments that are critical that I need to make to the student, and the blue is in. So that when I'm reading it, it's not bored. I'm not bored going over my work. Sometimes, if your eye look at something the same way, you become bored. So you have to be diversified. You must use, that's why I tell people, use more than 1 pen. There is a psychology about this, that if you are writing your notes and you have more than 1 pen in it, it brightens it. And your mind is attractive to bright things rather than mundane, boring, one-way things. So that is also one thing that you can do. Let me plug this up. That is also one thing that you can do in order to really understand what you are studying well. And then the T is learn like you are going to teach somebody. That's it. I know, patience. You may not be a teacher. You may not be a lecturer. You may not be like me. But if you are learning the standard, learn it as though you were going to teach somebody. So imagine you are learning IAS 16 or IFRS 16 or IAS 38, and you are learning to go and teach somebody. I tell you, patience, your mind will change. Your attitude will change because you don't want to disgrace yourself. Now, imagine if I'm teaching here, then I'm not able to see the thing top, and you can see, oh, Nhyira, wait here. How will you feel? You wouldn't want to be disgraced. So for that reason, you will learn it well, do the research, put in a lot of work, not sleep, go to, and you because you want to present it so that people will understand it, and people will clap for you at the end of the day. So if you learn with that mindset, even though you are not going to teach somebody, but you are learning as though you are going to teach it, it's a mindset. You see, this brain, this mind we have, you just have to trick it small. There is a small way you can trick your brain, and it can begin to do the things you want it to do. So that is what I would recommend to you, patients, to do. Very, very critical. Check your state of mind, and this goes to everybody. If you pick a book and you are afraid, you are anxious, you are thinking about something, like I listed earlier, put the book down, either lay hands on yourself and pray for yourself so that what you are thinking about will go, or do something, listen to some good music, or take a fresh bath and sleep. When you get up, you will be fresh and study. Because you know sometimes when you pick a book, you don't feel like learning, but you are behind it. Then your data is on. Then you are replying to WhatsApp messages. Please, you are not learning. You are just having fun. Okay? You are not learning. You are having fun. Because you are not engaged in what you are doing. And your mind will say, oh, leave Patience. She's joking. So Patience, I'm calling your name just for the example, right? Leave Patience. She's joking. Let's not take her serious. So you have to be careful, have a good state of mind. That is why your environment is very important. If you have a cluttered environment, a noisy environment, you cannot learn. You got to be active. Your data cannot be on and you are learning. It doesn't work that way. Unless otherwise your data is on and you have put your phone to focus mode. I don't know the phone you guys may be using, but there is a focus mode available where your data is on, but some apps you can't receive notification from some apps. And I do that a lot. Okay, so my data can be on, but WhatsApp messages cannot come, Facebook messages cannot come because I'm searching something online or I'm watching a content that I don't want to be distracted. So you must create the environment. Listen, this mobile phone is the greatest device that can help you to become successful, but this device can also make a lot of people to become poor and fail in life. So you got to be careful. It's a tool that you must use to take your life to the next level. So patience, I know this is an elaborated talk. Maybe you wanted something simple, but that is the truth of the matter. If really you want to stand out, you've got to put yourself in it, bury yourself in it, and let's know you started. All right? That's what I would say. Patience said, I appreciate this advice. Okay, you are welcome. Thank God you appreciate. Okay, so Basil Aiken said, how can I improve my examination techniques, especially when it comes to financial reporting and standards? As always, now let me get this as well, Basil Aiken. When you say how can you improve your examination techniques, what exactly are you driving at? Like, what exactly do you mean? Give me a clarification on that, and then let me answer you better, please. When you say how can you improve your examination technique on IFRS standards, what exactly do you mean? Let me have that and let me assist you well. Charlotte said, course with FR, there is always question on financial instrument, especially the recognition. What is the principle behind it? Financial, again, so Charlotte, I would recommend you watch my lecture video on the channel, check the Accounting Standard Series playlist, and watch the lecture videos on financial instruments. It depends on where you are standing, because if it is a compound financial instrument, or hybrid financial instrument, or convertible loan notes, then the standard states, according to IAS 32, financial instrument presentation and disclosure states that we must split it into the debt component and then the equity component. So like I said, that's a whole lecture. So get the video on my channel and watch it. Then if after that you still have something that you want me to talk about, then I may talk about that for you. Does it make sense, Charlotte? Okay. Mohammed Nassif said, now that there is no mock this year, how would the question look like in PSA and FR? ICA doesn't give mock every year. It is when they change syllables, then they will bring sample questions so that students will have an idea of what the questions will look like. So the November 2019 mock questions that came in was because that was the first time the new syllabus is being examined. And so students must be given an idea of the structure of the questions. That doesn't mean every semester ICA will be bringing more questions. ICA doesn't do that. What they do usually is that anytime they change the syllabus, they will bring a mock question. That is a sample trial question so that we understand the structure of the questions. So if you want the structure of the questions, refer to the mock questions in November and refer to the November examination. That is how the structure of the exam is going to be going forward in that case. That doesn't mean every semester ICA will be bringing any more questions. They could do that, but that is not what they are supposed to do. That is why the question kits are there, or the question bank. So if you check the question bank, the way the questions are structured in the question bank, that is the same way the questions will be in the exam hall. That is why it is good to have the question bank and then the books, if it is possible, because this is your study companion and it will help you to understand what you are studying very well. Okay, so Basil Aiken said, during my practice, I'm always running out of time with a lot of questions still unattended to. Okay, so this is it. So you must set a timer for yourself. You know, one thing is that in the exam hall, you will not have as much as you need about the time, but you must work with what is called speed and accuracy. So, and that depends on the approach in the exam hall. So this is what I recommend. I recommend that you read the question, and this goes to everybody, okay? You read, that is why I say that you will be given 15 minutes reading time. But when the bell rings, start work, don't start. Take another 5 minutes to make sure you have read the requirements of all the questions well, and then select the questions you can do best first. When you do that, you will be saving time, because sometimes students are egotistic. I don't know, you want to show guy in the exam hall. So students answer console, then they start. They reach somewhere, they realize that they can't do it. Then they will stop. Then they will go to question 2, standards. Then they will look at that, they can't do it. Then they go, so it will just be jumping from one question to another. No, take time, read the questions thoroughly, and start with the one you can do best first. When you do that, you reduce your ability to think in the exam hall, because like I say, if you start thinking in the exam hall in the early time of the exams, you are failing already. You don't think in the exam hall. When you start thinking, you are failing already. That is it, because it takes time to think. You don't be chewing the back of your pen or your pen top and all that. No. So when you take time, Basil, to read all the questions thoroughly and start with what you can do best first, taking into consideration the time at hand, then you will be able to do as much as you can. But one thing also is that you may not finish the questions, and you don't have to answer all the questions before you pass the exams. And chances are you may not finish. But if you start with what you can do best first, then it will increase your chances of actually passing the examination. And note that every question is said in 6 minutes. Every 20-mark question, because 1 mark question means you need to use 1.8 minutes in the exam hall. So if you see the question and it is 5 marks, that means you need to use 9 minutes to finish with that question. So if it is a 5-mark question and you are using 15 minutes to finish the 5-mark question, you are in trouble. If it is a 10-mark question, it means you need to use 18 minutes to finish it. So if it's a 10-mark question and you see yourself finishing the question or using more than 30 minutes on that 10-mark question, you are already really failing. And that is where panic steps in. That is where anxiety steps in. And immediately you start becoming anxious, you start becoming scared, you start like that, your mind will freeze. You can't understand anything any longer. You can't think properly, and you begin to fail. Immediately you start panicking in the exam hall, you begin to fail. So that is what you need to understand, that each question, each 1 mark, you need 1.8 minutes, all right? And if you do that, you'll be able to allocate your time very well, and you will be able to actually increase your chances of passing the exams. So Basil Aiken said, wow, best first. Thank you very much. You are welcome, Basil Aiken. And this actually goes to everybody as well, like I mentioned. Okay. All right, so if there are no other questions, I'm going to conclude here today. Our Executive Revision Masterclass is ongoing, and I'll be having our session, our Zoom session, any moment soon. So I'll be ending the broadcast today. I hope that it was a fruitful broadcast. And Jamel Imoro, Samuel Kwasin, Hali Jowri, Isa Abdul Hafiz, Patience, Grace Defia McCall, patient, Josie Chamado, Patrick Mans, Prince Perry, Kaysam, Enyonam, Mohammed, and all of you guys, Salem, Charlotte, Basil Aiken, and everybody. Thank you very much. Patience, he said, please repeat your last line. When you say my last line, what do you mean? Or what I was saying about the timing, I don't know what you mean by that. Mark Phillips, I see you. Keep blessing us. You're welcome. So that is what I'll be talking about it today. And take care of yourself. Keep on studying. Most importantly, as you are doing all of these things, don't forget to pray. Don't forget to ask for the wisdom of God. Don't forget to ask for the Holy Spirit and the presence of God to really guide you in what you're doing and how you need to do. Don't forget that you ask for the peace of God to really come upon you so that you will be able to have that sanity to be able to study and actually pass the exams. So keep praying. Make sure you pray a lot. Make sure you as you study, when you pick your book, pray for yourself, ask for God's wisdom, God's knowledge, God's understanding, God's peace to be with you so that you can do what it is that you need to do and understand what it is you need to understand, because there are a lot of forces that come against us. I don't want to go into that, but you got to be mindful of all that to be able to become successful, because these are critical and these are very, very important. These are very important and these are very critical. Okay, Patience said on timing, please. Yeah, I was talking about the fact that each 1 minute is 1.8 minutes. So if it is a 10-mark question, it means you need 18 minutes to finish it. So if it's a 10-mark question and you are on it, and you spend 30 minutes on a 10-mark question, it's not good. It is not good. So you've got to discipline yourself. Now, if a 10-mark question, you spend 30 minutes on it, it means you were thinking. You are thinking a lot. You are doing a lot of mistakes. You are trying to correct it, and that is affecting you. So that is why I advise that you read through the questions thoroughly before starting it up. And I know that you can do well and prepare for your exams and excel. So thank you very much for joining the stream. It's always a pleasure coming your way. I'll be coming your way the same time tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. And again, it will be a Q&A session, and probably I may be teaching, I may be writing on the board to discuss some things with you guys. So if there are any questions, again, you have, join me tomorrow, same time, as we continue with it, so that we finish hard and finish very well as we prepare for the exam. So you take care. Now, remember, coronavirus is getting serious, so make sure that you use your hand sanitizers, wear your nose mask or your face shield, whatever it is you need to do to take care of yourself, do it. Make sure you keep social distancing and you practice social distancing rather, and take care of yourself, all right? It's very important so you stay safe and you stay clear. Remember, if you're writing the ICAG exams, no face masks, no entry, or no nose masks, no entry. All right, so make sure that you have your nose mask, you have your face shield ready. On Monday, when you are going to the exam center, you're going to be putting it on whilst in the exam hall, because that is the policy the ICAG is going to be using. And make sure you get to the exams on time, because they will be following the protocols. They may be checking your temperature and all of that. And this is what this is just a side that can happen. If you don't get to the exam center early and calm down, your temperature may be tested, and because of the pressure, may go high. And if you are not careful and your temperature goes beyond what it is supposed to be, then you will be quarantined and you will not be able to write the exams. So I don't know how that is going to be, but that is just an aside. You've got to be careful. You're going to make sure that in the morning you don't do a lot of things that will cause your temperature to rise. Like when you are panicking, you are jumping from one trotro to another trotro. That is why I recommend that on the day of the exams, if it were to left for me, you need to cruise. Okay. When I say cruise, what do I mean? It means get a good sleep, take a good breakfast in the morning, all right? Good breakfast, quality breakfast in the morning, right? Some salad and some tea, some bread, that kind of thing. Some quality breakfast, all right? Then you take Uber or taxi, so you are alone in the back, peaceful, early. You are just doing some reviewing. You get to the exam center, follow the protocols and all that, and you'll be calm. You'll be peaceful. But if you leave home late and jumping from one trotro to another before you get to the exam center, your temperature is high. And that can affect you, all right? So that is just an aside on what you need to do to prepare for the exam. So see you same time tomorrow. Continue to study, continue to take care of yourself, and stay blessed. Bye-bye.